Hey, Steve Murphy here, and I'm going to be demonstrating how to make a covered jar like this one. It's a simple lid on it, and it's should be pretty easy. I've got a 5-pound ball of clay here and two 1-pound balls. This might be a little bit big, but it'll be a big covered jar. I'm going to start by centering it on the wheel. Bringing it in and pulling it up. I worked out a method for pushing clay down. I was in a sling for 6 weeks or so after shoulder surgery. So I worked out if you put your thumb over your finger and push down on half of it, you don't get a mushroom shape to form. So I'm going to push in, pushing up, and then down. I read once in Ceramics Monthly that if you go up and down 3 times, you won't get S-cracks. So I believe it. You can see how I'm pushing down on it right there. Okay? And here we go. That's about 3. I have some little bumps of clay here on the side. I'd rather not mess with them, so I'm just going to cut those off. Going in with a wooden knife and cutting down. And then cutting again. Put my clay aside and go from there. Alright. So, I'm going to take this clay and I'm going to open it. I'm going to be pressing it with my fingertips, with my left hand attached to my leg, pressing in and down. Pressing in and pressing down. I'm going down to about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. I'll be cutting a foot on this. I'm going to go across and I'm going to go wide. See the interior this way, and then I'm going to go back and pull it some more. I'll put a nice strong spiral on the bottom of this because I'm not going to be running a spoon across it. I don't like spirals on the bottom of bowls because, well, I like subtle spirals, but not big ones. I'm going to go here, I'm going to pull up. When I pull up, my left hand will be holding onto it, and my right hand is going to be grabbing around 1 o'clock on the wheel. We have 12 and 6 and 3 and 9, and that's generally how I work. I'm going to be working at around 1 o'clock. I'm going to grab with my fingers grabbing this way and pulling up, so the clay comes up from the outside. If I was doing a bowl, I would grab with my thumb and pull the clay out. So I'm going to grab the clay, I'm going to pull up. Okay? It starts to get dry, you want to lubricate it. I generally use a brush to get the water on it. I find that it puts water where I need it and not water where I don't need it. So I've got that first pull. Now I'm going to switch to an inside-outside pull. I've got my fingers on the inside and fingers out here, and I'm going to pull up with my outside fingers pressing against my inside fingertips. Okay? Leaving, now my walls are about maybe a 1/4 inch thick, but my top edge is quite thick, about 1/2 an inch, because I'm leaving clay there to so I can make the gallery. Okay? So when I want to add water to a pot, I can also put it on my hand. And then when you move your hand, it covers the whole piece. The inside here, get this lubricated. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to squeeze it in and up. Okay? Got my general shape. Now I'm going to be pressing from the interior. I'm going to push my way out. And again. Then I'm going to squeeze in at the top some. And say, yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tool that I've made. It's a wooden knife. I call it a throwing knife. It's got a single edge on it for cutting. This is a right-handed version. I make a lefty as well. But it also has a wedge-shaped part here, which I use for getting bats off the wheel, and I also use it for all kinds of stuff, including trimming. But I'm going to take this, I'm going to put pressure here. Let's see, I got a little water on it. I'm going to put pressure, I'm going to press down on here, making the gallery. Okay, I'll press on a little bit here. And then, because I have a line on this piece, I'll put a line here. I'm going to go right in and press. And maybe I'll put a little pressure here too. Alright, so that's generally the shape of the covered vessel. I'm going to cut the bottom now. I'm going to start this by going in here. I'm going to be cutting. And then I'm going to use my knife at 7 o'clock to cut the clay away. Last thing I'll do is I'll change the shape. This here is a little tight. I'm going to go in. I'm going to press out with my fingertips. Got a little bit more relaxed. I'm going to have to fix my gallery by pressing down with the wooden tool. And I can also take a brush and just run it on that edge. Make it look great. So now I'm going to clean my hands. And I'm going to take a measurement. I very often use a tool called the Lid Master. This is a great product. I make some tools, but I don't make tools that somebody else makes better. So this is called the Lid Master calipers. You can buy them at Portland Pottery in Braintree or probably online. They're set up this way, okay? And I like to think of it, I tell my students that if you have the jaws this way, this is correct. If you have the antenna, okay, that's not working correctly. So you want them to work this way. This is an outside measurement, and this is an inside measurement. So I'm going to measure in here. That's the correct width. Now they don't look it, but this is exactly the same size. It's actually one of those optical illusions. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to put this aside now. I'm going to take my string and I'm going to cut the bottom. I'm going to actually, you know, it saves yourself a lot of mess if you can wipe down your bats before you take them off the wheel, because then you don't have to make a lot of mess and a lot of dust if you can help it. So I'm going to push down here, pull toward me. And that one is ready to go. I'm going to put this up here and set it there. Then I'm going to grab another bat. See, I didn't wipe very well. Take another bat, put it down. I'm going to dampen it. Then I'm going to take a ball of clay, about a ½ pound. 1/2 pound of clay seems to be the right amount of clay for a small lid. And I'm going to grab this clay, I'm going to make it into a round ball, and I'm going to put it down on the wheel head, and then center it. Same rules as before. Going up, when I go up, I'm pushing with my hands. This part and this part, and I'm squeezing my fingertips, but I'm not lifting, I'm squeezing. The reason the clay goes up It's the same reason that toothpaste comes out of a tube. When you squeeze it, it has to go somewhere. That article in Ceramics Monthly said that you make a fountain of clay particles when you go up and down. And I believe it. All right, so here we go. I've got this here. I'm going to be pressing in, generally to about there. Then I'm going to press in. I'm going to press in with my fingers and push down, which makes the knob come up. It's kind of fun. Okay. Press some in here. And then I'm going to grab the clay here and I'm going to pull it out. Now I should get a measurement now before. So remember that this is the measurement here and this is the measurement there. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull this clay out to the side. And I'll make a measurement and that's just right. Okay? Now the big things you want to make sure of is that your gallery, this shape inside of here, matches this shape underneath. And that does pretty well. And I think that looks pretty good. Now very often when I make these, I'll trim a foot on the bottom of the lid. And I often do this when I'm teaching because let's just say, so here's the foot on the bottom of the lid. Let's just say that this ended up being a little bit too small of a lid. I could glaze the entire piece and fire it resting on its foot in the gas kiln. Okay, this was fired in a wood kiln, so it was put on with wads, and it sat like this inside that kiln. So I'll set this. I'm going to take my tool again. Remember, every time your tools are clean, you can see their edges and you can use them better. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut under here. I'm going to cut under here. And then, taking my string again, I'll push it down tight to the wheel head and pull towards me. And this will give me the lid that's going to go on top of this piece. That's step one in a covered vessel.